Hi. I revealed to the world within the week of my wife dying and being buried that I was going to be celibate and chaste for the rest of my life. This was partially, there were two reasons for this. The main reason is that my wife died of problems related to the cancer she was struggling with, but primarily hypoglycemia. But the cancer was caused by human papillomavirus, or HPV, which is the virus that makes warts. There are a number of different variants, like at least 150 variants of this virus, the majority of which don't cause cancer. But there are a small number that do, and there are at least two vaccines that I'm aware of. One is called Gardasil, which is available here in the US. And it protects, last I checked, against 9 different variants that cause cancer. Now, this virus causes cancer in the sense that it alters the genetics of the area it populates, and that eventually leads to cancerous growths. If it's caught early enough, you can get rid of it before it's cancerous, when you start to see these warts and stuff. But if you wait too long, it does actually cause cancer. If you catch it in the very early stages, surgery may be enough to remove it so that you're not in danger, but you may still have to go through chemotherapy and or radiotherapy as well. It primarily causes cancer inside of the woman, usually the cervix, but it can also cause cancer in the mouth and throat, and other areas, including the anus. So if you're with somebody and you see warts on their fingers or their genitals, their mouth, you should be unwilling to engage in sexual activity with them. I have no symptoms. I have in the past had warts. They were all removed. I had some on my fingers. I had some on the bottom of my feet. Those are the only ones that I remember. I've never had them anywhere else. And so I have no symptoms of being infected with HPV. And there are some websites out there that claim that most people, their bodies can destroy the virus. However, I have talked to a virologist, an immunologist, and various other kinds of doctors. And all of the doctors agree that the best you can hope for is that your immune system will suppress the HPV so you won't have any warts or cancer from it. But your body won't get rid of it. And so I also asked, well, how can I test to see if I've got it? And they asked, do you have any warts? I said, no. And they said, well, if you don't know where you might be infected, the problem is we'd have to scrape everywhere, basically. When I say scrape, I mean scrape skin off, to try and find where the virus might be. But the testing isn't foolproof, so it's possible that we may scrape the area where there is HPV and it not be detected because we didn't actually hit the HPV in the scraping. So in reality, there's no way for me to ever know. Well, I shouldn't say never. Maybe technology will advance to the point where like there's a dye that will attach itself to cancer cells, and then I would know. But at this point, I'm unaware of any way to determine if and where I have HPV. And as a result of that, thinking of what my wife and I went through, my kids went through, her family went through, as she slowly was killed by a combination of factors, including that and the hypoglycemia, I cannot bring myself to be selfish enough to put my own desire to be with a woman, physically or romantically, that I would put them at risk of those things, and much less my kids and I having to go through that again. So in 2015, I'm not going to go into details here, but let's just say that supposedly my wife was cured and we were told that we should start having sex and that there might be some bleeding, but we needed to have sex in order to make sure the vaginal canal didn't get too small. There was a lot of bleeding and it really freaked me out. I think it freaked me out more than it freaked her out because I felt like I was hurting her. And just talking about this is distressing. I didn't think that would be that distressing, but it is. Okay, moving on. I cannot do that to another woman. Even if I were a potentially wonderful husband, which I don't feel that I am, I don't think that I could ever trick a woman into falling in love with me and then she'd be like, well, I don't care that you've got HPV and that I might get cancer. I'm okay with that. If you haven't been through it, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. I have had women from Indonesia specifically contact me saying, hey, I'd like to be your partner. And I'm like, you need to know this. And they're like, yeah, I know. It's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. You just don't understand, do you? My wife is dead because of it. So I don't talk about this every day. I don't talk about it with everybody I meet. Um, but if the subject comes up, and it has come up at work, there have been some women in my work life who have expressed interest in me as well. Especially when I was after I'd first arrived in the U.S., I had 3 different very attractive young women, probably half my age. I was 50 at the time, and all of them were interested. And then once I told them about this, they just evaporated. So, yeah, and that's good because the only woman I would consider would be one who's been vaccinated, and even then, I would be very hesitant. So I get the question: how is it that you can stay celibate and chaste? And the answer is it's easy. I made a commitment to myself. It's not about an addiction. I mean, I enjoy sex, don't get me wrong, but if you had been through 2.5 years of trauma related directly to your partner's decline in death and then being persecuted by her family after her death, and even before her death, unbeknownst to you, you might possibly feel the same as I do, unless, of course, you're like a narcissist or a psychopath or something like that, in which case you're like, I don't care. So there's that. And I just made the decision that it's not going to be part of my life anymore. And in some respects, it's easier this way because there's none of the things that you have to do when you have a partner. But in the end, the real thing that makes it so easy for me is I just accepted it. I think one of the biggest problems that people have with like diets and anything where it requires willpower is they don't fully accept what they're trying to do and what they have to do in order to reach their goal. They fight against it. So if you're on a diet, you cheat. So do I ever get lonely? Yeah, sure. I get lonely. And do I ever get horny? Yeah, sure. I get horny. But that isn't worth risking somebody's life. And do I ever meet women I'm attracted to? Oh yeah, definitely. There are women at work that I'm attracted to, but I have accepted fully that I will live the rest of my life as a single, uninvolved man and just have to fill that emotional gap in other ways. And maybe that's not always easy, but it's doable. Maybe it's not always fun, but it's doable. And I don't let it, get in the way of living my life or being happy, because happiness is a choice. It's something you choose. For some people, like when I was young, it's very, very difficult. For other people, it's very easy. Some people figure it out early on. Some people take a long time to figure it out. You have to choose it and you have to stick to it. And there are times where it's very difficult to stick to being happy by choice. But I have gotten so much better at it. I mean, there are people at work have commented to me of late, that I'm happy, and I was like, wow, and I'm like, yeah, I choose it. Life is better when you choose to be happy. Even if bad things are happening in your life, life is better if you choose to be happy. So I just wanted to share this with people. I'm a voluntary celibate, not because I can't get a woman, but because I don't want to hurt somebody. I don't want somebody to die because I was being selfish. And if you are struggling with cancer, you have my love and support. If you are infected with HPV and you know it, please don't share it. It is not a gift you should ever share, just like herpes and CMV, which is, I think, cytomegalovirus or something like that, and the other ones that you can't get rid of. Please just accept that it's a new phase of your life. Have a platonic relationship. Find somebody who's asexual and have a loving relationship with them without sex. Masturbate. Just don't be selfish, because you'll kill somebody. I miss my wife. My kids miss my wife. It's been 8 years seven. Oh, wait. 6 years. It's been 6 years. It's been 8 years since I haven't had sex. 6 years since my wife died. Almost 6.5. Yeah, just make that choice. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.